Standing in the center of the Narendra Modi Stadium, you're surrounded by 132,000 seats. It is an arena large enough to swallow multiple city blocks whole. In 2022, Indian Premier League media rights sold for $6.2 billion, rivaling the NFL. And globally, the Board of Control for Cricket in India now claims over 38% of the entire world's cricket revenue. Yet, in the 1930s and 60s, the athletes representing this nation could barely scrape by. Janardhan Navle, India's first Test wicketkeeper, worked as a security guard at a sugar mill. Budi Kundaran, another top national player, slept on the open terrace of a health club just to get some quiet rest before a match. The sport itself arrived on the subcontinent in the 1700s, brought by the sailors and traders of the English East India Company. For the British, hitting a leather ball with a willow bat was a way to recreate the village greens of England in a sweaty, unfamiliar colony. The British deployed the sport as a cultural marker of their own superiority. Today, the subjects have acquired the colonizers' pastime, mastered its mechanics, and transformed it into a billion-dollar industry that effectively dictates terms to the rest of the globe. In late 19th century Bombay, local cricket tournaments were rigidly segregated. The British organized the competition along strict communal lines, forcing locals into separate teams for Europeans, Parsis, Hindus, and Muslims. In 1906, an entirely Hindu team defeated the European colonials on the pitch. News of the win traveled by telegraph across the country. For a colonized population, the cricket field offered a rare arena where the British could actually be beaten at their own game. Following independence in 1947, the structure of the sport adapted. The Indian dressing room shed its formal communal divisions and became a testing ground for the new republic's secular ideals, placing linguistic, regional, and religious diversity into a shared jersey. By the 1970s, the talent pipeline widened. The national roster, once dominated by the urban elites of Bombay and Madras, began absorbing players from modest, agrarian backgrounds. Performance on the field routinely overrode traditional hierarchies of lineage or caste. And then came the summer of 1983. Kapil Dev stood on the balcony at Lord's in London, lifting the World Cup trophy after his team took down the mighty West Indies. Winning the tournament right inside the spiritual headquarters of English cricket proved to the Indian public that their athletes could dominate the global stage. That victory eclipsed hockey and football, cementing cricket as a national obsession. 8 years later, the Indian government enacted the 1991 economic reforms, opening the country to foreign investment. That liberalization provided the catalyst needed to turn a popular pastime into a ruthless corporate industry. Up until 1993, matches were broadcast by the state-run network as a public service. But that year, television rights were auctioned competitively to private networks for roughly 17 crore rupees. Live games were recognized as tradable commercial assets. Traditional 5-day test matches were difficult to fit into modern programming grids. The 2020 format solved this. By shrinking the match duration, the dramatic arc of a game was condensed into a 3-hour window, aligned with evening primetime television. This commercial packaging peaked in 2008 with the launch of the Indian Premier League. Instead of utilizing traditional state boards, the IPL was built on a corporate franchise model, with billionaires and Bollywood stars buying city-centric teams. The league introduced televised, high-stakes auctions. These events converted athletes from civil servants into tradable, high-value corporate assets. Multinational brands attached themselves to the spectacle. Corporate logos blanketed player jerseys, stadium perimeters, and digital broadcasts, driving immense, concentrated streams of advertising revenue. By capitalizing on its massive domestic audience and embracing market-driven broadcasting, India effectively bought the sport. Authority within international cricket migrated away from London and relocated directly to Mumbai. With annual revenues now exceeding 12,000 crore rupees, the BCCI's financial dominance translates directly into geopolitical soft power. Because smaller international cricket boards now rely entirely on Indian tours to stay solvent, the BCCI holds significant leverage over global scheduling and diplomacy. Over the last decade, this financial machinery has intertwined with domestic politics. The market optimization of the 1990s now regularly amplifies modern hyper-nationalist narratives. This is most visible during India-Pakistan fixtures. Rivalries are now heavily monetized and marketed with the rhetoric of military conflict. Broadcasters maximize ratings by framing these encounters as issues of national security and historical grievance. Overt state symbolism is engineered directly into the broadcasts. High-profile matches frequently feature military flypasts, and the world's largest cricket venue bears the name of India's sitting prime minister. India appropriated the colonizers' dastime, redesigning it for primetime television. The cricket pitch has been transformed into the undisputed center of a modern Indian-led empire.